Alrighty, thank you everybody for joining today for the LA County Contract Class Program Instructor Information Session. We're very excited to have you all on here to learn about all of the enhancements we've made to our contract instructor program, and we hope to receive applications and proposals from all of you. So the main point of this session today is just to give you all a brief description of the program and some things that are required for applying, and we'll definitely be taking questions in the chat box. We've muted everybody for this meeting, so please type all of your questions into the chat box. And any questions that don't get answered during the meeting can be answered through the chat afterwards, or you can also email us at contractclasses@parks.lacounty.gov. And we are also recording this meeting, so we'll be posting it to the contract class website later this afternoon.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm Lawrence. I had just muted myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you please mute yourself? We're going to keep everybody muted for this.
Okay, so what do I do? Tell me, what do I do? Do I hit what?
There should be a little.
They told me hit *6 to unmute myself. So that's what I did.
Okay, we'll go ahead and remute you.
These came back from a search.
Okay, so quick overview of the program. The purpose of the contract class program is to offer a workforce development opportunity for local artists and recreation, leisure, fitness, and educational instructors, while simultaneously expanding the diversity of the high-quality programs that we're able to offer to the communities of Los Angeles County. So this is an opportunity to provide classes throughout the entire county of Los Angeles. And our department is going to assist in the marketing of the classes. And our department is also going to handle all of the participant registration and collection of fees. So instructors will be receiving a total of 60% of the total fees collected from the program registration fees. So some of the benefits to the instructors to offer classes through LA County Parks are the increased views, as the classes are going to be marketed to over 10 million residents countywide. The class patrons can enroll in activities and complete their liability waiver forms online 24/7 through our online registration system. And the instructors will have 24/7 access to the portal to be able to download class rosters and attendance sheets. And we've created a website to keep all of the information you'll need all in one place. And we're offering virtual training and onboarding to all instructors annually to cover the details of the handbook and the agreement, and cover topics such as writing successful proposals and tips to increase participation. So another benefit we have is that every person will be assigned a specific coordinator within one of the geographical areas of the county, and that person will be your direct contact for all things contract classes. So I'm Katie Dingman, and I am the coordinator for our department. And then up in the north areas of the county, we have Sam Estrada and William Champion. And in the East Agency, we have Brian Ceballos and Tracy Anthony. And down in the South areas of the county, we have Susan Curry, Lorraine Martinez, and Alejandro Noriega. And then for our regional larger facilities, also covering nature centers, we have Chris Mowry. And these people's contact information is provided in the contract class handbook, which you'll be able to access through our website. So some key program components. Every instructor will need to apply for a county vendor number. That's just so that you're able to work with the county, because as an independent contract instructor, you'll be considered a vendor of the county, and you'll also complete a direct deposit through that process so that we're able to pay you at the end of your class session. All instructors will submit an instructor application yearly, and then they'll also be submitting a class proposal each season for each class they plan to offer. So if it's your first time applying, you're going to be applying for the county vendor number, the instructor application, and the class proposal. So that'll be 3 separate things for you to fill out. So in your class proposal, you'll be able to choose the geographical area of the county in which you want to teach in, and you'll be able to select multiple if you'd like. And you'll be able to set the fees and the schedule as well as the desired attendance for your program. And then for certain classes that'll require a supply or material fee, you can put that on your proposal and the department can pre-approve that, and that is something you'd be able to collect upfront directly from the participants. But all registrations for the program will be collected online through the department. And the department will also be providing instructors access to our online registration system, where they'll be able to print rosters, sign in and out sheets, waivers, and other important documents for their classes. The instructors will also be receiving feedback from the seasonal participant surveys as well. So we have the ActiveNet registration system set up for our department. So all of the programs will be input into the ActiveNet system by our agency coordinators, and that's where the public will go to sign up for each class. And the department will collect all of the registrations and any fees through this ActiveNet portal. And then the instructors will have access to it as well, where they'll be able to view their most recent rosters. They'll be able to print their sign-in and sign-out sheets, waivers. They'll be able to print their attendance sheets, view and print the bookings, email participants, and enter their attendance data, and a whole lot more. And there'll be a training on how to access the whole ActiveNet system that we'll be uploading to the website shortly. And then notifications of enrollment and withdrawals for the class will be automatically emailed by the ActiveNet system to the instructor. So you'll constantly be receiving the most up-to-date information about your classes through ActiveNet. We have a marketing team with our department. The public information team will be the lead for all the marketing campaigns, as well as recruitment of participants and new instructors. You may have seen some of the below images on our different social media platforms if you currently follow us, as we're currently recruiting instructors through the 26th of this month. So the classes will also be shared through our department social media accounts, and there will also be opportunities to present class demonstrations at some of our larger community events. So we've created this website to help put everything you'll need as a contract instructor all in one place. So you'll be able to click the 2 blue buttons for the instructor application and the class proposal application to submit those. And then down in the Instructor Resources, you'll be able to access the green links, which are the instructor handbook, the map of all the LA County Parks districts, and the instructor agreement, as well as there's a link there to the LA County vendor registration, which you'll need to submit around the same time as submitting your application and proposal, because that process happens with another department and will take some time. And then you can also access the instructor annual production schedule there. And then that's where we'll be uploading the videos to guide you through the ActiveNet system, as well as our updated COVID-19 restrictions.
Katie, it's Katie Martell. Just ask a quick question here from the chat box. Can I put these the PowerPoint slides up on this website for folks to review after?
Yeah, and we also plan to post the recording of this meeting.
Great. Sorry for the interruption.
So this website here, if you haven't already visited it, it's parks.lacounty.gov/become an instructor. So we have a lot of different types of facilities that'll be available for instruction. We have kitchens, gymnasiums, dance studios, fitness and weight rooms, amphitheaters, classrooms, computer labs, soccer fields, tennis and pickleball courts. We have lots of parks and outdoor green space. We have nature centers, different types of meeting rooms, baseball and softball fields, and basketball courts, and some others as well. So here are a few examples of some of our facilities. This is one of our tennis facilities, which you can see here is also lighted for nighttime play. Here's an example of one of our dance studios that could also be used for yoga classes or martial arts classes or other types of classes you'd be interested in the full mirror. Oops. And there's also an example of one of our computer labs on here. We have computer labs in all different sizes throughout our park facilities. And then this is an example of one of our outdoor amphitheaters, and as well as one of the crafts room at one of our sites. Here is one of the theaters we have. It has the stadium seating that can also be pushed back against the wall to create a large banquet room, as well as the stage, which can be used. And then here's an example of one of our kitchens. So some of the desirable classes that we're looking for include fine arts, urban dance and music, photography, music instruction, STEAM classes, sports, martial arts, Zumba, ballet, folklorico, fitness and cardio, crafts and hobbies, tumbling chair or gymnastics, parent and me classes, and we're pretty much open to whatever interesting classes you would like to offer. We'd love to see all different types of offerings for our communities. So we're going to conduct evaluations on all of the classes. There's going to be surveys distributed to the participants and the instructors at the end of every class session. So the instructors will be able to receive the data from the participant surveys to help build on the strengths of their classes. And the department will also use the instructor surveys to improve the implementation of the contract class program. So we'll definitely be looking for your feedback on all of the application process, your time throughout teaching in one of our facilities, so that we can make improvements to the program as well. We're going to be hosting an instructor orientation for all the new instructors on July 27th. We'll have AM and PM sessions. And then if needed, we could schedule a makeup session after that date. And it'll basically cover all of the details of the handbook and the agreement, which you can access on our website currently. We'll also cover the department policies and procedures, and we'll go over some of the housekeeping things like the process for submitting your invoices for payment at the end of your class, as well as it'll provide an opportunity for instructors to ask any more specific questions that have come up between now and then. So a couple deadlines to keep in mind. All of the applications and proposals are due by June 26th, and we ask that you also submit your LA County vendor registration by that time because that takes some time to process with another county department. And we'll be scheduling phone interviews with all of the applicants by July 3rd. And then all instructors will receive notification of the decision on their application and proposals between July 6th and July 10th. And all of this is for the fall season to begin September 1st. So if you miss the June 26th deadline to submit your application and proposals, we will be recruiting for our winter season later in the summer. So all of the information and documents are going to be located on the website, the parks.lacounty.gov/become an instructor. So you'll be able to access anything you need from there. And the instructor handbook, which is listed on there, covers everything you need to know from how to apply to the resources that you'll use during your time teaching. The instructor agreement, which is posted on there, covers all of the contractual obligations of the department and the instructor. And that is something that we would have you sign after your classes are selected and all of your information has been collected. And all of the dates and deadlines for all of the seasons for the remainder of this year and through summer of 2021 are listed in the annual production schedule, which is also under those instructor resources on our website. And that same schedule is also attached at the end of the instructor handbook. And then all instructors will be invited to the virtual orientation to cover the details of the handbook and the agreement. So we'd like to thank you for joining in and listening in on this information. You'll be able to visit our website for more information. We also have an email address which all of our coordinators have access to, the contract classes at parks.lacounty.gov, where you can also send any questions that you might have. And then we have social media handles. So for Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, it's at LA County Parks. And then for Facebook, it's at parks.lacounty.gov. So now we'll check in with the chat box and see if there are any questions that have come up that should be shared with the group.
Hi, Katie. It's Katie. I think the one remaining question we have here, and Mercy just answered it. Classes can be offered throughout the day, during the week, and on Saturdays.
Yes, we're definitely looking for classes to fill all of the different times of the day. We know a lot of people have different schedules, so different times of the day work best for different types of classes or different types of groups that you're targeting for your class. So we're definitely open. As long as the facility isn't already booked, it'll be open for a contract class.
Do we know what the average cost is for the class? For a class?
So the instructor will set the fees for their class, and that's actually one of the sections you'll fill in on the class proposal form. You'll be able to set the fees, and then the department will just review it to make sure it's similar to market value and affordable for the community, because we want to make sure that people are signing up for your class just as much as you do.
Is there an opportunity to provide classes to seniors?
Definitely. We are looking for classes for all different age groups and all different types of activities.
Can multiple class formats be submitted in the application?
So we ask that you submit a separate proposal for each different type of class that you would like to offer. So you'll only need to submit one application, but then you'll submit a different proposal for each type of class that you're wanting to offer.
How do we get a user number?
So one of those green links under the Instructor Resources on our website is the LA County vendor registration, and you'll click that link to apply for your LA County vendor number.
So we have to go to the webpage?
Yeah, the vendor registration is handled through the LA County Internal Services Department, so it'll take you to their webpage where you would apply to become an LA County vendor.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
And throughout that vendor registration process, it'll also prompt you to sign up for direct deposit. And that's really the part of the process that takes a little bit of time. I believe you'll receive your vendor number within like 5 to 7 business days. But it takes them a little bit to get you set up with direct deposit. So we want to get that started early on so that you're all set up with that before the class begins.
Okay. So can we just go to the website and then I look for vendor registration?
Yeah, it's one of the green links on the right-hand side of the page listed under the Instructor Resources.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Well, this interfere if we are a full-time county employees? Will this interfere with our work or any level?
So actually, as a county employee, you are unable to become a county vendor. They consider that a conflict of interest. So this program is for non-county employees.
And for those that have called in and aren't maybe seeing a chat box here, there have been a couple questions about COVID-19, and Mercy's responded to let us know that we're working on those COVID-19 protocols and we'll provide training on those protocols during orientation. But right now it's looking like, groups of more than 12, or they will be limited at about 12 per class.
And those restrictions will be, oh yes.
We have a really bad echo on here.
Hello. I don't know if I can be heard. My chat is disabled. I had a quick question of what, if you're new to signing up, what exactly are you looking for in the class proposals?
The proposal form actually collects a whole lot of information. It asks you things about a brief class description, your experience in teaching those types of classes, any certifications or licenses you have that relate to that type of class, and collects, all of your contact information, what your desired fee and schedule is for the program, as well as the area of the county in which you'd like to teach. It's about like a 2 to 3 page application. It collects a lot of information.
Going back to my question, as a full-time employee for county, can we do it as a volunteer basis without charging? Is that possible, or is there anything we can do?
That would be something you would want to contact our department separately about. That wouldn't be considered a contract class in that case. But we definitely do have volunteer opportunities throughout our different facilities.
Are there fee guidelines that we need to stay within, or hourly, like schedules that we should try to accommodate to?
Those things will be up to you, but the department will be reviewing with them and working with you to make sure that it's, both affordable for the community and also similar to market values, so that you have the highest chance of getting the most participants.
Hi, along those same lines, I'm on your website right now, the Park and Recreation's website, looking at existing programs. I would be a new vendor considering this, and I'm trying to understand what people normally charge, the structure of the classes. Is there something I'm missing? Because I can't seem to find that on the website when looking at existing classes. Is it because they've all been canceled, or is there a way we can sort of find out? It's hard to know what to charge when you don't know what anybody else charges in trying to keep within market value. I guess what I'm asking for is a resource that we could look at for somebody who's new to see what has been done in the past. Thank you.
So while most of our classes are currently canceled, we haven't had very many contract classes in the past, which is why it would be hard to find very many fee-based classes on our website. For the most part, the classes that were being offered by our department prior to the COVID pandemic were, a lot of those were free classes offered by our department employees to the public, with the exception of like sports programs and other things that had minimal fees. One thing I would suggest for market value is possibly looking at maybe Los Angeles City or some of the other cities within LA County to see. A lot of them have much larger contract class programs where you can see what fees are being charged.
Thank you. Question. So the fees that we would propose on here, those would be paid by the participants or by the county to the instructors?
The fees would be paid by the participants, and then the county would be paying the instructors 60% of all fees instructed for each, all fees collected for each class.
And a limit of like 12 participants per session, you said, correct?
I believe that's currently the restrictions, and that'll be updated as public health orders are updated. We definitely do have a lot of facilities at our department that can hold a lot more participants than that, but right now we have to stick within the public health guidelines for what's a safe group to gather.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
How would we get more flyers made for our class?
So you would provide the flyers to our department and we could post them on our social media, or if you provide hard copies, we'd be able to pass them out at our facilities.
I see. Okay.
I have one more question. If we present the proposal and we actually get an interview, but once talking to you, we realize we need to change some things, I guess is once we set everything in our proposal, is that the way it has to be, or can it morph and change after we talk to you, especially if we're new and we're not really sure what we're doing here?
Yeah, this will be a little bit of an interactive process with your contract class coordinator. So if updates need to be made, then you can work with the coordinator who reaches out to you to make those changes.
Okay, thanks.
And is there a specific age group that we need to focus on, or is it open to different ages?
It's open to all ages, and you'll actually, one of the items on the proposal form asks what your targeted age group for the class is.
Will we need to get fingerprinted? And if so, would you all pay for that or will we be responsible?
All of the instructors will go through a live scan background check, and our department will be absorbing the cost of that. So we'll invite you into our headquarters or one of our other locations that has the live scan machine, and we'll print you ourselves.
For existing instructors, do we have to, again, provide liability insurance, or will you now cover that since you're taking 60% of what we earn?
That will actually be based on the class type. Certain low-risk classes will be able to be covered by the county's insurance, and high-risk classes, for instance, those that include direct contact between participants, like certain sports would, they will be providing their own liability insurance. And all of the insurance requirements will be covered by your contract class coordinator after they receive your application and consult with our county risk management to determine which category your class would fall under.
Okay, and then also I did submit the application, but when I went to print myself a hard copy, some boxes were checked that I did not check. So I don't want it to seem like it's, you know, any discrepancies there.
If you go ahead and email the contract classes at parks.lacounty.gov, we can make adjustments that way.
Okay, thank you.
Do current instructors get to keep their classrooms?
So every season, every instructor will be required to resubmit a class proposal, even if it's for the same exact class that they're just teaching in a different season, so that the department has the opportunity to evaluate what the best facility is for each class being offered.
Mine's kind of a unique situation. We're Lane Park Preschool, where we've been there for the last 40 years. So it's our classroom.
So that'll be up to our coordinators in the north, but for situations like that, I'm sure something can be accommodated.
Katie, there's a question about computer labs. Are there computer labs I don't think there's them at every location, at some locations, right?
Yeah, in every district somewhere there are computer labs, but not at every single facility. And for questions about which areas fall into the different districts, we have under the Instructor Resources on our website, one of those green links is a map to the recreation district. So you'll be able to tell which facilities are located in each district and get an idea of where that's located. And to answer another question from the chat, we don't have too many previous contract classes. We just recently updated this program to bring it up to industry standards, and are really now trying to give a push to recruiting contract instructors more so than we've done in the past. Do we have any additional questions?
Yes, this is Anaesthetise. I'm just curious if you could repeat where the MAPS location is on the website so we can see what facility accommodates what type of class.
Yes, on the right-hand side of the website, underneath Instructor Resources, there's a couple of green links, and one of those is a link to the map of recreation districts.
Oh, okay, I see it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And that's an interactive map, so you can click around and view all of the different facilities listed under each district.
Okay, thank you.
And to answer another question from the chat, yes, the class would be able to be monolingual. You'll just want to input that in the description so that participants are aware.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, for the participant, if they pay in advance and say they're not able to meet up during that course that they pay for that month, will it be prorated for the next month or what?
So we have a class refund policy, which is listed in the handbook. Classes will be able to be refunded if they request a refund within 2 business days after the start of the first class.
Okay.
Or any time prior to that.
Thanks a lot.
To answer another question from the chat, the minimum for classes will be set by each instructor, and there's a place for that on the class proposal form. So classes would be canceled if you don't meet the minimum that you have requested for your class.
What is the minimum of students you should have in your class, before it gets canceled?
It's up to you. You'll set the minimum on your proposal. It differs based on, the class type. Some classes might want to have less if there's a lot more instruction involved, or, some of the sports classes or something might want a little bit higher of a minimum. You'll be able to set it as the instructor.
If I already submitted an application, however, I didn't get a vendor ID number, should I resubmit my application once I get one?
No, we'll be requesting because the vendor ID number will take like 5 to 7 business days for you to receive. So later on in the process, we'll be requesting that information from you. So just go ahead and follow the link on the website to apply for your vendor registration number.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. In our classroom, if we have a teacher and an assistant, does that mean that we would be able to have 24 kids in the class?
Right now, I believe the public health recommendation is to not have a group larger than 12 for the classroom. So they would have to be in 2 separate areas of the facility to have 24.
Okay. And if we already have, because our preschool's been around for 40 years, so people are automatically trying to get on our list to be in our class. If we have people that have wanted to be in our class and this goes to the public to be able to sign up. What happens? Do we have to give our parents like a time frame? Okay, at 7 o'clock in the morning, they have to hurry and try and sign up so somebody else doesn't take one of the spots of the parents that have already requested to be in our class?
For your situation, we would probably work something out. There is the opportunity to do like a priority registration that's prior to the public registration.
Okay, thank you very much.
And my question kind of applies to that is we're an existing, I have the Folklorico dance group at the Hacienda Heights Community Center, and some of our classes, I have 5 different levels, and some of our classes are larger than 24, 25 kids. So now if we're cutting down to 12, and you know, it may change by September, what do I do with the other half of the kids?
So right now we have to stick to the public health recommendations on that. So we would suggest possibly offering the class at separate times to accommodate all the different students.
Okay, so if I'm only allowed 12 as of now, 12 in each class, each of my classes exceed 12. So we could not open it up to the public because I'm not, as it is my existing students, I'm not going to have enough slots for them.
So that's definitely something you'll want to discuss with your contract class coordinator throughout this process.
I have a question for the 12 people, I guess the 12 participants. Is that according with the space available, or is just that's the rule? I mean, because I'm thinking if it's a huge, like, I don't know, like an auditorium or like a gym, and the space is 6 feet or 3 feet, whatever the rule is, I'm thinking that we are able to accommodate more than 12. But I mean, that's my question. Is this a rule that is 12 no matter what the size of the room, or what's the?
So I believe right now the public health recommendations are for our department are groups no larger than 12, but the later on in the different phases of reopening, I would imagine it would become a percentage of the facility capacity. But for now, it's just 12 students in a class.
How often do the instructors get paid? Is it one payment, and when is that?
So if the class lasts 5 weeks or less, the instructor would submit their invoice for one single payment at the end of the class session. Or if the class lasts 6 weeks or longer, they would submit an invoice halfway through their class session for 50% of their pay, and then a second invoice at the end of the class session for the other 50%.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? So the class should be no longer than 6 weeks? Is that?
No, you can have classes up to 12 weeks, but if it's a class that lasts 5 weeks or less, you'll submit one invoice for your payment at the end of your class session. Or if your class lasts 6 weeks or longer, you'll be able to submit 2 separate invoices, one of them halfway through for half of your pay, and then another one for the remainder of your pay at the end of the class session.
And that would be at the 60% of the rate of whatever we're charging per student, correct?
Yes, 60% of the total registration fees.
If the participant is not able to pay the fee, and it's obviously a reasonable fee, is there a county, I don't know, what is it called? Stipend. Like a stipend for them or something like that?
So at the moment, we haven't been able to set that up yet, but that is one of the plans for the future, which part of the 40% that the county keeps could go towards scholarship programs for certain classes.
Got it.
Real quick question. Back to the insurance. You were Is it going to be for the teachers that are teaching in the classroom? Are they going to also have to have, like I have preschoolers, are we going to also have to have insurance? Or because that's not like a sport that is basketball or karate or something, we would be covered under the county?
I'm not sure.
Katie, let me go ahead and answer that. This is Mercy.
Okay.
And I also believe Brenda's on the call and maybe more of a subject matter expert on the insurance. So let's see if Brenda wants to jump in very quickly.
So, hi, this is Brenda. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
We are currently working with our risk management office to offer the coverage for low risk participants or low risk contractors. So we will be making that available. Other classes that are considered high risk may be required to provide insurance for their classes.
Would we get a reduced rate if we have to provide our own insurance?
We could look into it, but at this time, I don't believe that might be an option. It would be depending on whether the coverage would be depending on whether your class would be considered a high risk exposure or a low risk exposure. So it will depend on your proposals and what the description of the classes entails.
Would you guys also look at the fact that we've been there for 40 years and never had a claim for anything in any of your insurance things? Would that also like show that we're not a high risk?
That would be a determination that will be done by the County of Los Angeles Department of Risk Management. So they will be able to determine whether your class is a high risk or low risk. It wouldn't really matter whether you haven't had an incident in the past. As you know, a lot of the times, nothing happens until it actually happens. So because of that, they will determine whether your class or what you do in your class is a high risk or a low risk, and we will be basing the insurance on that.
So after we fill out our application, then you'll let us know if we qualify to get the insurance from you?
That is correct.
Okay.
For the insurance, we're kind of new, and we have no idea what kind of insurance to get. I mean, is there any pointers, or what insurance should we be looking for?
That is, I believe, all detailed in the manual, and it gives you the types of coverages that you will be required to obtain and the limit amounts that you will be required to obtain. And I would recommend that you just take that to your insurance provider and give them that, and they would be able to give you a quote for that insurance.
Awesome, thank you. I have another question. There was in the past programs, I don't know if they're still there, where we also sign up to be trained by the county to do those classes like parenting classes and domestic violence. I actually have a friend that was doing that way before all this happened. So is that part of your program too, or that could be, or is something entirely different?
This is Mercy. That's entirely different. Those are typically funded by the probation and other departments. So that wouldn't be a part of this particular program.
And so we will have to look into the probation department and bring that in as a class, or that's
if they had funding available for it, but we do not have funding to offer. I think it was a parent project, for example, where we would bring instructors on, but this is an independent contract class program where you would create the content and the model for the class and set the fees and so forth. That would be something that you would have to check with another department on.
Great, awesome, thank you. No, well, the instructions, yeah, it's.
Okay, I have a question. I asked it in the chat, but nobody answered it. So my question is, say for example, someone is a business owner and they want to have like 5 or 6 different classes. And then under those classes, they want to have an instructor teach under them. Is that possible? Do they need to have their instructor get fingerprinted? Are they responsible for all of the classes if they just wanted to sub that day, or, how would that be handled?
There's a place on the proposal form and the application where they would be able to list subcontractors. So they would list the subcontractor assigned to that class for each of the different class proposals that they submit. And anybody who instructs through our department would have to be fingerprinted with our department, so they would need to be known in advance. So last minute subs wouldn't be able to work unless they've already been fingerprinted for a different class.
Okay, and then if they end up coming in later, would we be able to just change the proposal or just kind of update it?
Well, there'll be a separate proposal for each season, and the seasons only last about 12 weeks, so they would probably just hold off until the following season.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
If we were fingerprinted 2 years ago, do we need to get re-fingerprinted?
We would check with our HR department during your application process. You would want to let your coordinator know that you've already been fingerprinted with our department, and they probably still have you on file.
Okay, thank you.
Is Lawndale considered in your the department? Because I have a live scan and it was from Lawndale Community Center.
I don't believe that's one of our facilities.
Is that a laundra? I'm sorry, is that a laundra?
No, Lawndale Community Center.
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, okay, because I have some. No worries.
For the role of subcontractors, can a county employee be a subcontractor and somebody else be doing the contract?
That's still a conflict of interest.
And I'm just wondering why. I mean, it's a service. I don't understand it.
I think you might want to go ahead and reference the HR department to get clarification on that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Is there a website for the HR department?
I think if you're a county employee, you should contact HR directly or email offline for clarification, please.
Great, thank you.
A couple questions from the chat. So yes, independent contractors can hire subcontractors. And then also for the live scans, we'll be scheduling those as soon as applications and proposals are approved. And we got just a couple minutes left here if anybody else has any other last minute questions. And if not, you can definitely email all of your questions to contractclasses@parks.lacounty.gov. And every participant will be interviewed by phone. Everybody who submits an application, that's part of our review process for the applications. As far as masks go, I believe right now all of our program participants are being required to wear masks.
Hi, this is Brenda. I would just like to address Christina and her question on approximately how much she should budget for the COVID-19 insurance. I would just recommend that you look at the guidelines and the insurance requirements and the limits and call your broker or your insurance company and ask them to provide you with a quote, and they will be able to tell you how much that would cost you.
And for the supply and material fees, for instance, for an art class, a material might be a paintbrush or something that participants would take home with them at the end of the class, whereas a supply would be something like the paint that gets used up by all of the participants.
Hi, this is Brenda again to address Christina and her question regarding recommendations for insurance. No, unfortunately, the county does not recommend to provide any recommendations on which provider to use for your insurance need.
And we're currently not offering virtual contract classes, but that is something we may look into in the future. But right now, all of the contract classes would be in-person classes.
Katie, if I could just add to that though, I do think if you have a virtual class, it would be, your proposal would be welcome and we would still review it. I know a number of cities are doing virtual recreation classes.
So we've come up on our time now. I would like to thank you all again for joining and all the great questions. We hope this was really helpful for you all. And we're still open to answering more questions through the contract class email, which again is contractclasses@parks.lacounty.gov. And there's also a host of information on our website, which is parks.lacounty.gov/become an instructor, where you can access all of the different instructor resources in those green links on the right-hand side of the page. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.